Go ahead.
Mr. Les Brown, what does it take to be a great speaker?
You have to find something that you're passionate about, that you feel competent and confident to speak on. And in my particular case, I believe that people have greatness within them. But greatness is not their destiny. It is a choice that you must make every day, that you're going to stretch yourself, that you're going to find something that you will immerse yourself in, that it becomes who you are. It is your magnificent obsession. And that will introduce you to a part of yourself that you don't know right now. And so that is a theme that when I speak, my golden objective is to transform how a person will see themselves and say to them, you have greatness within you. Here are the things that you need to do that will allow you to begin to live from that place of power. And you'll discover things that you don't know right now. And so when you are speaking, the goal is to create an experience. The reason that most speakers are not successful is that their presentations are full of content. If information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy.
Wow.
That Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it can never be satisfied to going back again. So as a speaker, your goal is to create an experience. All of you, you have an energy signature, and that energy signature, used effectively, strategically, and experientially, you have the capacity to change people's mindset, to touch their hearts, and to inspire them to become like a pencil in the hand of God and become a whole instrument to help people to write a new chapter with their lives.
Wow.
Awesome.
What other questions?
Thank you so much.
What's one of the things that you were talking about? You said there's steps that they need to become great. Give me one example.
Well, number one is you got to become familiar with who you are. The reason that most people never get on a track of pursuing their greatness and discovering who they are is because we've been programmed to go to school and major in a subject area and get out and get a job. But when you start asking the question, who am I? And that's a very important question because you can start down a track, and if you don't know who you are, it will cost you. I did not know this Les Brown that you now see. I had no idea that he existed. So I think part of discovering your greatness in life is, one, you've got to have someone in your life that can see what you can't see. Sometimes you can't see the picture when you're in the frame.
That's right.
So you got to have someone. And Mike Williams, I was a disc jockey in Columbus, Ohio. I was known as Les Brown, the man about town. And he was my newsman, but he became my mentor to this day. And he said to me one day, I had a dashiki on, tennis shoes, jeans, big afro. He said, Les Brown, you're more than a disc jockey. Hey, man, you can do more than what you're now doing. And I said, like what? He said, you can speak. I said, who would I talk to? He said, people around the world, organizations, leaders, corporations. I said, but I don't know anything about that. I don't have a college education. I've never worked for a major corporation. He said, all of us are born the same way, dumb, naked, and speechless. You can learn. And he became my mentor. And as a result, I was mastering radio. I can do that now in my sleep. Osborne said, unless you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. And so what most people do is settle. It's been said that most people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65. So you've got to, one, have someone in your life that can see what you can't see. Two, you've got to become a risk taker. Viscott said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you cannot become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? I like what Helen Keller said. She said, life is short and unpredictable. Eat the dessert first.
Wow. Wow. That is powerful.
Yeah, any other questions?
Les.
Yes.
Who do you who do you see, like who's someone that you continue to look at and say, you know what, that's the guy I want to continue to look at so I can continue to take my game to the next level. Do you have someone? Mike Williams?
Without
Okay.
question. Mike Williams, He wrote a book called The Road to Your Best Stuff.
Okay.
He's been my mentor for 43 years. Had it not been for Mike Williams, you would have not seen this Les Brown here. When I met Mike Williams, I was a disc jockey on WVKO radio station in Columbus, Ohio. I was LB Triple P, Les Brown, your planet playing papa. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single, love to mingle, certified, bona fide, dubly qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. He gone, I had to kill him. Bam, bam! to create this other Les Brown that you now see. But he saw this Les Brown. I did not see it. My goddaughter, Anika, his daughter, called me and said, my father has written a book called The Road to Your Best Stuff, and he wants you to write the foreword. And I cried like a baby. She said, what's wrong? Are you all right? And I said, yes. I said, I just thought, what if I hadn't gone to Champion Junior High School in Columbus, Ohio, to hear your father speak? And I saw him, and we became friends. And I hired him as my newsman. And between the records, he talked to me and said I could do more. That I would have gone to my grave had I not met her father with this person that you now see. And I've been able to touch people's lives around the world. But I had not a clue that I have the ability to do what I'm doing now. There was an interview that it was George Bernard Shaw did when he was in his 90s, and a reporter said, you've seen people throughout the world who are great leaders. If you had power to be anybody throughout history, who would you like to be? And he said, I'd like to become the man I never was. And I believe that we all have greatness within us, but we have to make a conscious choice to stretch ourselves, to challenge ourselves, to pursue with a passion the whole process of discovering the truth of who we are, that we've got to be willing to die to who we are. When I read the scripture, man, in order for you to gain your life, you've got to lose your life. When I speak, I pour myself in it. There's a period, there's a place that I go within myself when I'm speaking, that it's no longer me, that I know that at that moment that I'm being used as an instrument. And I think that all of us, there's a gift that we have. There's a dimension of who we are, that we were chosen, 1 out of 400 million sperm, to bring something here on the planet that was not here before we showed up. And if we don't do it in a historical context, the world will never be the same, because we took it to our graves. I'd never forget when my best friend died. I was coming out of the cemetery, Alexander Williams Jr. We were together since second grade, and it just bothers me now. And the lady said to me, I know this is a sad day for you. You buried your best friend. I said, yes, I did. She said, I heard you on one of your tapes talking about Boo was a great cook, and that you and Boo were going to do a recipe book with his Jamaican and Bahamian dishes. I said, yes. She said, did he write it? I said, no. She said, ooh, he took that with him. He took that with him. And I believe that we all know people who have goals, who have dreams, who have books, who have leadership, who have talents, who have gifts, that they never use them. And they take it with them to their graves.
Wow. That's powerful.
You want to die empty. What is an accomplishment, or what is a goal that you are currently or wanting to aspire to reach?
My goal, my big goal now, is to create, I've started the Greatness Center. And it is designed to train 100,000 voices of hope, Lily, outside of religion and outside of politics, both of which I believe polarize and divide people, just everyday people. Because all of us have a story that can touch people's lives and teach them how to speak in one voice. There's a story in the Bible about they are now speaking in one voice, and there's nothing they can't do. I believe if you had 100 100,000 powerful communicators like a President Barack Obama, not in the political sense, just everyday people, 100,000,
wow,
who one will deliver a message of hope, because when there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present, number one. Number two, encourage people to develop the thirst to expand their skill set, because there's no shortage of opportunity. There's a shortage of capacity to take advantage of the opportunities that's available. And three, to encourage people to create collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. If you've got 100,000 people doing that, what you're going to do is create a shift in the consciousness of people. And people will begin to get a larger vision of themselves. Just think about what this man, Mike Williams, what he did. He gave me hope that I could do more than what I was doing. Here I am. If both my birth parents came in here right now, I would not know either one. Born in an abandoned building on a floor in the poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City. Being adopted with my twin brother Wesley. We were adopted by Mrs. Mamie Brown. When I was in 5th grade, I was labeled educable mentally retarded. Put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. Failed again when I was in the 8th grade. No college training. And had a tremendous inferiority complex for years because I didn't have a college education. And I still don't. And this person spoke. And this is why I'm passionate about this. He spoke. When I trained speakers, I said, here's what I want to train you to do. And this is why I became a speaker, to change lives. I wanted to know, is it possible that you can speak for an hour to a group of people and be able to transform how they see themselves, touch their hearts, and inspire them to make new choices? Because that's what he did. He changed how I saw myself. I went from seeing myself as a disc jockey to seeing myself as being a voice of change. And he created a thirst within me. I started reading 2 to 3 books a week when I wasn't reading a book at all. The average American reads 1 book a year. Now, just think about this. If you decided to read 1 book a month in 5 years, when the average American would have read 5 books, and you read 60 books, you're an expert now. 85% of people, when they graduate from high school, never open up a book. And only 10% read past the first page, the first chapter. Okay? So if you've got 100,000 voices of hope, average, everyday men and women that people can identify with, giving them hope, encouraging them to develop themselves, and creating communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, we can create a new movement, and we can change the course of history. That's my big goal. That's what I'm going to do before I leave the planet. I believe last year this time I could not have this conversation because cancer had metastasized to 7 areas of my body. I beat cancer last year for the 2nd and final time. And I believe the reason that my life is spared, and I was at Florida Hospital, and Dr. Stone told me that, it had eaten 40% of my T1 vertebrae, and I started laughing. He said, and it is metastasized in your body. He said, why are you laughing? You're in denial? I said, no. He said, then why? I said, I feel like Mother Teresa. She said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I just wish you didn't have so much confidence in me. But when I went home that night, I believed that there's another chapter in my life. There's another calling. And I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes say this: there's no success without successors. And so my goal is to teach and train people how to use their voice and use their story to distract, dispute, and inspire. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. So how I train you is that you, with your story, you distract them from listening to their story. It's what psychologists call your self-explanatory style. And then through the delivery and execution of your story, you begin to dismantle their limited belief system and distract, dispute, and inspire. You inspire them now. They've now felt, I can't do this. But because of how you spoke and your story and your example, they will say, whoa, I can do that. If she can do that, I can do that. If he can do that, I can do that. So if you got 100,000 people that's not out here talking about problems, because what you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. That your words have power. In the beginning was the word. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto you. That we can begin to create a movement that's transforming people's minds individually and collectively, and it will impact our children as well. That's what my big goal and dream is. And that's why I believe that I'm still here and being used as an instrument now to train people how to use their voice and their life, their story, and their energy to transform lives, just as I was taught by Mike Williams. I encourage all of you to get his book, The Road to Your Best Stuff.
5 books.
Because we got it.
5 books. Give us your 5 favorite books.
My favorite book, of course, is scripture. You know, I read that. The other thing is I also read the Kabbalah. I enjoy that. I'm an eclectic. I read a variety of things. There's a book that I love very much, The Road to Your Best Stuff, Mike Williams, my mentor, 43 years. There's another book that, it's a rare book to find, it's called Secret of the Ages by Robert Collier. It's a very good book. And I read that as a teenager, and it was very transformative. Another book that I love very much, it's a very small book, but it's profound. And even as I read it now, I see new things in it. It's called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
Oh, yeah.
They have a version called As a Woman Thinketh, too. It's very, very strong. And I have others as well, but those are ones that come off the top right now.
Hey, Les, I mean, you provide a great. Let's just give it. Can we just give it up for Les? Man, just appreciate everything that you're doing with this and spending the time with this tonight, Les. Where could someone go deeper? I mean, you know, where can they get your contact, your books, and information? Where do you want people to go if they want to go deeper?
My website is lesbrown.com, but there's somebody else I want you to hear his work, who I think, of all the speakers I've ever heard and all the people that I've ever read, he's one of the most brilliant men that ever walked the planet, Dr. Howard Thurman. He wrote, "Deep is the hunger, the voice of the genuine." He was a mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., to Albert Schweitzer, to Mahatma Gandhi. He said there are 2 primary questions that one must ask oneself in life. Number 1, where am I going? Number 2, who's going with me? And if you ever ask those questions in the wrong order, you'll be in serious trouble. Boy, he's a bad boy. He said there's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent at the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. He's a bad boy.
Wow.
Dr. Howard Thurman. You can find him online.
What's the name of the
Les,
book?
when you speak and you talk about one accord, you know, I feel like we're all in one accord right now. Because
Yes,
absolutely.
I'm
you
creating
have
an
that
experience.
heart.
Yes.
The God has given you all those gifts, or, you know, you're being used as a vessel, and it's really very inspiring right now.
Thank you.
Probably the
And
most-
that's my goal, is to teach 100,000 speakers how to speak from their heart. Most speakers are speaking from their head. But I teach you how to speak from your heart, because you have an energy signature. And when you speak from the heart, people don't do things until they feel it.
Wow.
Okay?
That's the inspiration.
Yes,
It's
that's
there.
the
It's a passion.
inspiration, yes. And it connects all of us. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also. It connects us all. And I believe we have the power to do that. And it's time. People are looking for change. They're looking for ways in which they can reinvent themselves. Things have changed dramatically. The
Too
things
many
that we used to count on, they're no longer.
We're too hard on you. Like, you made us do something kind today. Eric was so cute. He said, he was teaching us an application, and he said, just text somebody something really nice. Like, you know, sometimes we're so involved in, you know, where we have to do and what we have to do. And, you know, if you don't pay it forward and bless it out, it can't come back to you. And that, you blessed us today.
Oh,
You're
thank you,
amazing
thank you,
now.
thank you,
I'm
thank you.
like,
Hey,
I'm
hey, I'm just
glad.
thank you. I'm just being used as a vessel. Just thank you very much. I appreciate
and that's
that.
why that kind of kindness. I asked Mike Williams. I was on a radio station in L.A. And I said, what made you? It took him 14 years to convince me that this Les Brown existed. What made you continue to talk to me? And he said, I felt it was my duty to stay in your ear until you heard me. Mm-hmm. What if we decide that there's someone we see something in, that it's our personal assignment to stay in their ear until they heard us?
Because you're not going to hear it until you're ready to hear it.
Absolutely. Yes, I tell you,
nobody
the
can hear
shift,
this
the
man,
shift, there's a
then
shift.
something wrong with
Yeah.
him, because he's just, I mean,
I'm holding
don't
on to
know.
every single word.
That's awesome.
You know how when some people talk, after a few minutes, your mind kind of wanders, and but I mean, every single word that's come out of your mouth, I'm hearing and I'm
You've
listening.
made a lot of
Because
profound
you're open, you're
statements.
receptive.
So I have one last question.
Yes, it doesn't have to be the last one, Lily.
No, but I also want to be respectful of everyone's time.
Absolutely.
That's why. But what was it, because I know that you always get a lot of requests for speaking engagements. What was it about our group, Women in Default Services, that kind of called out to you?
Nordine? What's it?
Nadine.
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 When
Oh,
Nadine has a passion for changing people's lives. I could have got here faster if celebrity accomplished speakers would have given me a chance to share the platform with them. And I'll never forget when I was at a conference and a guy spoke, and I really admired his speaking skills. And I went up to him and I said, one day I'd like to speak. Could I just have a few words with you? And he looked at me with such disdain, like, you're nobody.
Wow.
And never responded and walked away. And I'll never forget that. And as he walked away and I watched him, I said to myself, Lord, when I make it,
Wow.
I will never, ever treat anybody like that. And so I decided that when I make it as a speaker, I'm going to train others. I'm going to open the door for others. I'm going to help others and inspire them and teach them everything that I know. I've got speakers that I've trained that can go with me toe-to-toe. Ed Blunt, Johnny Wimbrey, Stacy Grant out of New York. I mean, that can go with me right now, toe-to-toe. And so the thing is that where I am is that and I tell speakers that I train, who you are off the microphone is more important than when you have the microphone. Mm-hmm. And so she's a person that wants to make a difference. And I see that in her. And so she said this will help her if I would come. And I said, okay, I will. There's a young lady named Candace Haynes out of Fort Lauderdale. She saw me when she was 15. She's now 25. And I'm helping to launch her career. So my goal now, there are people that have stories that can make a difference. Some people will hear me, but there's some won't hear me, but they'll hear you. Or they'll hear you, Eric. You're my future. I'm 69. I look younger because I use mascara to cover my I have an allergic reaction to dye. My kids say, Daddy, you look distinguished with your gray hair. I said, 69, I'm not trying to look distinguished. I'm trying to look young.
Wow.
And so, the thing is that you have got to feel strongly about something that is your passion, that you're willing to pour yourself into. And I think that when we help each other do that, just like Eric has said, I'm going to come and spend my time and share with you things that I've learned that's going to help your business. Judge a man not by what he does, but what he does that he doesn't have to do. And to judge the true quality of a man is what he does when no one's looking. He did not have to do that, but he's willing to do that. And that's why I recognize you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Les. Appreciate that. Absolutely.
Same
Awesome.
Les Brown. 30 years ago, I grew up listening to you.
Oh,
Like
Yeah, me
Cleveland,
too.
Ohio.
in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I remember the talk show.
Oh, yeah. I had to talk. Highest rated, fastest canceled talk show in the history of Well, at least I had one.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
I
know
got a
more.
question for you.
Yes.
You say right now, to find the new me, the old me needs to die, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And you need to change your relationships.
And what about the toxic people around me? The
Yes.
60% of me and the other 40% is the people around me. What about if the 40% is still no people, toxic people there, including my business partner, my friends, my family? What I need to do if I want to kill the old me and get a new me?
Well, part of what you have to do, you have to look at your relationships and ask the question, what is this a relationship doing to me? There's some people that don't deserve a front row seat in your life. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group.
Got a tweet right there.
And I remember a disc jockey out of New York said, you know, it's better to be alone than to wish you were. So George Washington said it's better to be alone than to be in bad company. And I agree. And so part of what you have to do is look at the relationships. Because of Mike Williams, I've grown mentally and emotionally and spiritually. He's a good father, and he's a man of integrity. He holds me to a higher standard. You got to have people that will hold you to a higher standard, who won't give you a pass, who will say, that's not you, that's inappropriate, you are Les Brown, you can't do that. Somebody that you will listen to, that you will get your ego and your pride out of the way. Pride cometh before a fall. Ego means edging God out. Someone that will say, don't do that, and you'll stop. And that's how I listen to them. My family, my friends, they know. So have you read it past Mike? If Mike doesn't say yes, Les is not going to do it. Because I know he's got my back. I know he has my best interest, and he can see what I can't see. And so you got to have someone in your life that you trust like that, that will bring that part of you out that's there. It needs to be released, and it wants to. There's no accident that we're right now here. I'm confirming stuff that you already know. And sometimes faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And we have to hear it sometimes over and over and over again to give us a breakthrough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Some people try to rob that from.
Yes, there are people, you know, my daughter said, Ona Brown, she's a coach, and she said, Dad, guys tell me they're attracted to my light, but they spend a whole lot of time trying to put it out. Yes. And so what you do is, you don't try and change them and try and convince them to treat you differently. You have to spend less time with them. There are some people that you've got to make the decision, but this person has no place in my life. There are two types of relationships. There are toxic relationships, there are nourishing relationships. Toxic relationships, they bring the best out of you. They challenge you, they stretch you, they hold you accountable. They tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Nourishing relationships. You know, you want those people who are the nourishing relationships. They tell you the things that you need to hear that will help you grow. But there are some people who will never let you know that you are a good person. They will bring darkness in your life. There are people who they'll sabotage you. They don't want to see you make it. They're like crabs in a barrel. If you never saw,
you believe in it, and it's all this.
Yeah, there's some people, if you never saw them again, it'll be too soon. The people say, can I change them? No. There's some people, first of all, it's a full-time job changing yourself. And there's some people that are so negative, they can walk into a dark room and begin to develop.
Wow.
Oh, behave!
Wow.
And Roberto, I think you're too hard on yourself because you have such a heart of volunteering and running, and you did so much for the ladies today. And
Let's give it up for Robert. Let's give it up for Robert. Come on, awesome. Let me tell you this.
No, you really did.
He's part of the feel-good men.
And let me tell you this. Well, you know what else Robert did? Yeah.
I feel like I've been.
Robert took his time out today. He took me to Best Buy, right? Because we had to get a projector set up.
Yeah.
The man took me there, carried the bag for me while I was on my phone trying to get things done. Robert, you're the man. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This has been a wonderful,
So I think
wonderful
that just so that everyone